Hey, how's it going, everybody? I appreciate you guys making your way back to Each One Reach One today for the continuance in our lesson, Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death. We are gearing up for part 30. I thank you guys for making this trip. It's a lengthy one. I told you it would be from the beginning. And if you're still here, you started with me from the gate, from part one till now, you should start to be going through some changes. A lot of this should either be making a lot of sense or you're still completely confused. If you are completely confused still, then there's a great chance that you've already found out who you are. Your spirit is trying to tell you you are one of the 2/3, and you might as well just fall out of here now and just go ahead and start doing 2/3 stuff. You know, for the rest of you, if you are feeling that tug in your spirit, this information, this channel is vibing and in alignment with your spirit, stick around. We're going to keep this thing moving. But if you are on that fence, but you're not ready to give up yet, you want to still, wait and hear out the completion of the matter, bravo. Bravo to you. You are the people who I most want to reach. Okay? Because you just might be one of those stubborn, stiff-necked Israelites who still need to hear everything before you're able to make a decision. And that's okay. I completely understand. I prefer that rather than somebody who makes a decision much too soon. Okay? We are here for the gathering of the body. So gather we shall. Let us begin properly by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. All praises due. Peace, blessings, and salutations to my family out there, the elect of Israel. Glad you guys have made it back to me. All right. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your company. All right. Let's go ahead and get back into our study. All right. So today we're going to begin in Galatians chapter 5. We're once again in the NLT. Okay. So Galatians chapter 5. And let us begin. Let's get verse 3. Okay. Galatians chapter 5, verse 3. I'll say it again. If you are trying to find favor with the Father by being circumcised, you must obey every regulation in the whole law of Moses. Already a lot to chew on. Okay. For you people out there who are clinging to the law, or you're learning, you're in your walk, and you're following these people who preach the law. When you hear the term, keep the law to the best of your ability, I keep the law to the best of my ability, get out of there. Get out. Okay? Any of them who aren't telling you, to keep the law in its entirety, they're pulling the wool over your eyes. Okay? They are intentionally deceiving you. Okay? Intentionally deceiving you. All right? They're not just, misunderstanding the information themselves and so they're giving you what they know. No. These people know better and they're purposely leading you astray. Those are the worst to follow because we're all flawed. None of us are perfect. We're not going to be right 100% about everything. None of us are going to be 100% about everything. So let's not have a nitpicky match here. Well, look, he was wrong about such a. Look, he didn't even pronounce that right. Come on, let's not play those games. We're not in the semantics game here. Okay, we're here to get the meat, spit out the bones, the gristles, all of that stuff. That's not valuable. You know, we just want what counts. Okay, so especially for you men. All right, I hold you guys to a higher standard. Why? Because the Father and Yahweh Shai hold us, the men, to a much higher standard. Okay, we are to conduct ourselves as men. All right, so I'll say it again. If you are trying to find favor with the Father, see, not with Yahweh Shai, the Father, who's not being discounted, by being circumcised, meaning by following the law of Moses, by conducting yourself like an Orthodox Jew, you must obey. You must You don't have a choice. You must obey every regulation in the whole law of Moses, all 613 laws without fail. If you fail in one, you fail them all. This is why it was impossible. This is the reason why it was impossible for the law to be used to perfect you or to gather the flock. Because anybody who knows they're not keeping the law perfectly, they're going to stray away farther and farther and farther from the Most High. And as a matter of fact, you're going to get to the point where you're just like, you know what? I can't do it. I can't do it. You know, I can keep 612 of them, but it's this one that I just can't do it. I might as well just sin all over the place. I might as well not even try, just say forget it and just live like a heathen. I might as well just live as wickedly as possible because it doesn't matter. See, that's the mindset that creates wickedness. And you just don't even try. That's the reason why the people were so wicked back then, because it was like, I can't do this. Nobody can do this. Nobody ever could. How am I going to be the one? This is too hard. I might as well not even try. And then you just go further and further into sin. That's how it went. And that's how it goes. That's why you got to come out. It makes no sense. Verse 4. If you are trying to make yourselves right with the Father by keeping the law, you have been cut off from Hamashiach. You have fallen away from the Father's grace. All right. Now, this is for the law pushers who do believe in Yahushua and they believe in the New Testament. They just hold on to the law of Moses. This is not for the Old Testament only. Okay. We're disregarding them for a second here. Okay. For you guys who do believe in Yahushua, that he is the Son of the Father, that he came, he died, and he ascended. Right? If you believe that, this is for you. You are attempting to make yourselves right by the Father, with the Father, by keeping the law. To you, you have been cut off from Hamashiach. The Old Testament onlys, they're definitely cut off from Hamashiach. But this ain't even talking to them. This is talking about those who claim to believe, but they're still trying to cling to the law. You have been cut off, okay? You can't have both. You can't be under the law of Moses and under the law of liberty at the same time. You can't cling to the law of Moses and say, you got to keep the law, statutes, and commandments at the same time. You can't do it, okay? You can only have one. You have fallen away from the Father's grace. You are not under grace. Therefore, you have to sanctify yourselves. You have to atone for your own sins, and you can't do it. There's no Levitical priesthood. There's no temple. You don't have your own flocks. If you are not under the Father's grace, you're fucked. You're fucked. With no Vaseline, no KY, no dinner first, no niceties. You do what I'm saying? Not a pleasurable experience. Okay? Not an episode to brag about, fellas. You ain't gonna tell your boys about this one. Not this kind of fucked. You get what I'm saying? You're falling away from the Father's grace. You got to come back. The only way to be in the Father's grace is through faith and belief in Yahushua. Obedience to the Father. He wants you to come to his Son. Why? Because that's the only way to get to him. He's giving you a doorway to get to him. You can't come to him through any other route. You can't climb in through the windows. You can't find a tunnel or a way to dig underneath the building and get inside. You got to come through this door that the Father has put in place as the portal to himself. And that is Yahushua. Because under the law, we cannot come to him directly. We are cut off from him. We are cut off. He let us go. We don't belong to him anymore unless you've been gathered by Yahushua. Then you do belong to the Father once again because Yahushua brought you back to the Father. He didn't collect us for himself, okay? He gathered us on behalf of Yahweh. All right. Let's keep that in mind. We have to knock this into your conscience, because into your psyches, because this is a wicked spirit out there. It's a wicked doctrine, false doctrine out there concerning what we believe on behalf of our enemies. The law pushers saying, look at what they believe. And it's not what we believe is not the truth. And what they believe is not the truth either. And that's the problem. You got to come out of them. There is no truth in them. All right. But I lingered here for long enough. Let's go ahead and get the next scriptures. Okay. So let's get James. Chapter 2. Let's begin at verse 10. Okay, let's get verse 10. James chapter 2, verse 10. For the person who keeps all of the laws except one is as guilty as a person who has broken all of the Father's laws. Let's get that again. For the person who keeps all of the laws except one is as guilty as a person who has broken all of the laws. That's the conundrum. That's that tight space you find yourselves in, because you got to keep the whole law. If you offend in just one area, you have broken them all. You offend in all areas. Okay? For the same power who said, you must not commit adultery, also said, you must not murder. So if you murder someone but do not commit adultery, you have still broken the law. So whatever you say or whatever you do, remember that you will be judged by the law that sets you free, the law of liberty. The law of liberty. And now, briefly for a second, I want you to see this and hear this in the KJV, okay? All right, so now you know what that's saying in basic English, okay? In Western English. Now let's hear it in the KJV, okay? For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. He is guilty of all. If you offend in one point, you keep the whole law with the exception of one point. Oh man, almost had it. 612. Oh man, I was just I almost had it. Father, come on, man, give me a break, man. You know, I got 612 of those things, man. Come on. No. 612 is not 613. Get out of here. Get out of here. He doesn't want to hear that. Well, you know, I keep some of them to the best of my ability, Lord. What? Get out of here. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Verse 12. So speak ye, and so do, as they that should be judged by the law of liberty. So speak and so do, as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty. All right? This law of liberty, it's the expressway to Yahweh. It's the expressway. Not only is the expressway, it is the only way. There are no other highways leading to the Father. No other routes you can take. You got to get on Yahweh Shai lane and ride that lane the entire way to the Father. There are no other exits, no other ramps, no turns, no mergings, nothing else. Yahweh Shai is the only route. It's our straight shot. Our straight shot. But we got to go through that toll booth. Yahweh Shai is that toll. We got to come through him. We got to come through him. Okay? Let's keep it going. We're going to get into Hebrews, and let us get chapter 13. And let's switch this back to the NLT. We want to keep it in the NLT for right now, okay? So Hebrews 13, verse 8. Yahweh Shai HaMashiach is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Stop. Now, the law pushers who do believe in Yahushua, they use this verse, Hebrews chapter 13, verse 8, okay, to try to prove their point. I don't know how they interpret this the way they do to try to make their point, because he does not belong in their toolbox. When trying to make a point, he should be nowhere in their toolbox. Okay? So, but he is. But he is. And the same law pushers who use this verse, they quote it all the time. All the time. Look at the hypocrisy of these people. The same ones who use this all the time. These are the same ones who tell you got to throw Paul out. But who is this talking? Paul. But they're telling you to throw him out when he's saying stuff they don't agree with. But then when it comes to this, because they think this helps their position, because they falsely say that Yahushua was not anti-law of Moses. So they use this to justify that we're supposed to keep the law of Moses forever because Yahushua was pro-law of Moses. That's crazy, because that's not the truth. We know that's not the truth because we walked through the scripture. We heard Yahushua in his own words denounce the law. We heard him. And since he is the same yesterday, today, and forever, today, just like yesterday and forever, he is anti-law of Moses. He's all about the law of liberty. He's all about the commandments of the Father. He's all about the new commandments, the new doctrine that the Father sent him to bring unto his people. See, it doesn't help them. All it does is solidify and affirm what we already know, what we've already been taught. No contradiction here. It's a contradiction on their end, not on ours. There's no contradiction from us. You see no contradiction in anything that we've gone through in our studies, but you see contradictions in everything that they've ever told you. Verse 9. So do not be attracted by strange new ideas, meaning anything that's not the law of liberty, anything that is not the gospel preached by the apostles is what he's referring to. Do not be attracted by strange new ideas. Your strength comes from the Father's grace, not from rules about food, which don't help those who follow them. Okay? Your strength comes from the Father's grace, not from rules about food, which don't help those who follow them. Now, listen, there's another one of those times where I want you to say, think critically. Ask these guys a question. See, you put them in a tight spot when you ask them these questions, because they're going to have to disrespect the Father in order to call you wrong. They can't have both. They can't say that you're wrong and the Father, you know what I'm saying, is right at the same time. They can't do it. Okay? So we say grace matters. Grace is a big deal. Grace is a great gift from our Father to us, right? For these times that we're in, right? We say that. That's what we say. They say grace is a bunch of bullshit, right? That's what they say. Your strength comes from the Father's grace. Do you believe that your strength comes from the Father's grace? I do. I have strength of faith because I believe in the Father's grace. I appreciate his grace and I give thanks for it every day. I don't feel convicted or guilty. I come to him and I have a relationship with him. I speak to him every single day. I try to do things I try to please him every single day. I try to make steps, large steps in his direction every single day. I open up my arms wide and I walk to him every single day. Why? Because I don't feel convicted. I don't feel like I'm supposed to be keeping works. And so since I'm not keeping all these works, then I try to go and hide in the corner like a bad dog, right? Who knows he's messed up. So now he doesn't even want to come to you. I come to the Father every day because I know that I have liberty, I have grace, I have his love and his mercy on me. I know this. Therefore, I build the relationship that he wants with me. I give him the relationship that he wants with me. He has it in me because I'm not scared. I'm not frightened. I'm not convicted. I'm not ashamed to come to him. So for those of you out there, do you believe that his grace is nothing but your ability to abstain from certain foods? That's everything, right? Throw his grace out. The Father's grace means nothing. It's more important for you to obey the dietary law of Moses. That's what you believe. That it's more important for you to trust in your own works, your own will, your own ability to abstain from this and abstain from that, to observe this day and that day, right? You think it's more important to recognize these days and this dietary restrictions than it is to appreciate and be thankful for the Father's grace. That's what you believe, and that is what you believe. That's why you're in trouble. That's exactly why you guys are in trouble. Paul and all the apostles were aligned with Yahushua. They taught the same things he did. Anything outside of Yahushua's doctrine is what constitutes diverse and strange doctrines. All right. That's the strange new ideas, right? The law of Moses is what did not profit them that were occupied therein, right? The law of Moses are these rules about food, which does not help those that follow them. If it had, there would have been no reason for Yahushua to live and die for our sins. Again, what was the purpose if the law of Moses was able to do it? What was the purpose? We're going to stay in Hebrews, and we're going to get Hebrews chapter 11. Come on. All right. Computer's moving a little slow. Here we are. Hebrews chapter 11. Let us begin at verse 1, okay? Faith is the confidence that we hope for will actually happen. Let's start that again. That was horrible coming out the blocks. Faith is the confidence that what we hope for will actually happen. It gives us assurance about things we cannot see. Through their faith, the people in days of old earned a good reputation. By faith, we understand that the entire universe was formed at the Father's command, that what we now see did not come from anything that can be seen. Stop. See, the law pushers, mostly the Old Testament only law pushers, again, they err horribly not understanding the scriptures. They don't understand regeneration. They don't understand creation. Okay? They get lost in Genesis. They get lost in Genesis. This is why they don't believe in Yahushua, because they get lost at Genesis. The very first chapter confuses them already. The first few lines kills them already. By faith, we understand, the elect, that the entire universe was formed by Yahweh's hands, at Yahweh's command. Command. Listen, at his command. Does this make sense? Does this sound like what we've always heard? We always hear about the Father getting things done through other devices, right? Through angels, right? Through messengers, through prophets, right? How often do you hear about the Father himself doing anything? The Father is the boss. He's our Father. He's sitting there on his throne, aka his heavenly couch, in his Father role, the king's position, dictating. He ain't getting up to go clean the house. He ain't getting up to go whoop the badass kids. He ain't getting up to go cook dinner. He ain't cleaning the bathroom. He ain't changing the toilet paper roll. He's saying, hey, get such and such done. And someone goes and gets it done. Hey, go do this. And someone goes and gets it done. Do you not understand? Our Father is almighty. He's a shot caller. He speaks and things get done. But he has workers. He has those that are under him that go and get things done at his say so. Okay? And what many folks don't understand is, like I said, it's creation. And in the beginning, when God said, let us make men in our own image, that is referring to Elohim, the angels, right? And in every group, if you're working as a foreman, or if you're working in construction, if you're in the military, wherever it is, there's always somebody who's the leader, who's the lead of the pack, right? Our Yahweh Shai, he was the leader of the pack. He was the leader, the head angel, who was there getting things done at the Father's command. That's why he is called the Word, capital W. When you see that word with the capital W, it's referring to him, the Father's mouthpiece. The Father told him what needs to get done, and then he took that information, translated it to the other angels, and as the leader, the foreman, he and they got the work done. The entire universe was formed at the Father's command. They don't even understand that Yahweh Shai was from the beginning. That's what it means when it says he was from the beginning. From the beginning. It was not the Father with his own hands creating everything. It was by the Father's command that everything was created, but not by his hand. Okay? And a lot, again, those mysteries of the scriptures. A lot of times when you read the scriptures and you see it refers to the Father's right hand, that's code for Yahweh Shai. Like you say, oh, that's my right hand, man. Yeah, that right there, that's my right hand right there. You got a woman, y'all tight? Yeah, that's my right hand. Best friend, yeah, that's my right hand. Maybe a parent, mother or father with an older son, older daughter maybe. They're dependable, they do things for you, they help you out, they make life easier for you. Yeah, that's my right hand right there. Oh, my baby girl, that's my right hand. Oh, my son, that's my right hand right there. Boy, that's my right hand. That's what Yahweh Shai was to the Father. The first fruit of the first fruits, his pride and joy, his first, his most trusted, his right hand. His right hand. Why mention the Father's right hand, but not mention his left hand? Why there's never mention of his left hand? Or just talk about his hands in general. Talk about his right hand. When they talk about his right hand, that is referring to Yahweh Shai. That's just a nugget, because again, if you don't understand these little things, nothing else makes sense. So they want to throw Yahweh Shai out and say he just came about all of a sudden, but he did not. He was there from the beginning. There's so much more, and it gets deeper than that, just to break it down and show you Yahweh Shai all throughout the book, from the beginning. He was from the beginning. Okay? Don't let these people beguile you with their lack of understanding, because that's all they do. They trick you with their lack of understanding. Let's keep it going. Verse 4. It was by faith that Abel brought a more acceptable offering to the Father than Cain did. Abel's offering gave evidence that he was a righteous man, and the Father showed his approval of his gifts. Although Abel is long dead, he still speaks to us by his example of faith. It was by faith that Enoch was taken up to heaven without dying. He disappeared because the Father took him. For before he was taken up, he was known as a person who pleased Yahweh. And it is impossible to please the Father without faith. Again, it is impossible to please the Father without faith. If you're out there or you hear someone out there and they're calling themselves the hopeful elect, they have not faith. So they don't please the Father. They don't please him. If they're trying to cling to the law of Moses, they're trying to cling to works. They want to be able to earn their position, earn their way into his good graces, earn their way into his kingdom. They don't have faith in Yahushua's blood. They don't have faith in the Father's promise. The Old Testament onlys don't have faith in the Father's word either. They claim to honor him, obey him, and reverence him, but they don't have faith in him. They don't believe in his word. Anyone who wants to come to him must believe that the Father exists and that he rewards those who sincerely seek him. Again, this is all about the Father, not Yahushua. So where is all this talk by Paul and the other apostles and by Yahushua of the Father being supplanted and usurped, edged out, replaced? Where does it say in the book? It doesn't. It's just the speaking, the talk, the wicked lies of these wicked Pharisees, these wicked Sadducees, the wicked scribes, these wicked ass fucking law pushers of today's time, being the liars they've always been, being corrupt as usual. Verse 7. It was by faith that Noah built a large boat to save his family from the flood. It was by faith. He obeyed the Father who warned him about things that had never happened before, because at this time in Genesis, it had never rained before. The Father told Noah he was going to rain. He was going to flood the earth with rain and wipe everything out. He told him this, and Noah had to believe him. He had to have faith that this thing that he had never saw, that he couldn't even visualize, that it was going to happen because the Father said so. Well, he said such and such is going to happen. It's going to happen. He believed. Other people didn't believe. It was 130 something years, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Okay. That Noah was building that ark and he was constantly telling people they had to get right. The Father was planning on wiping everything out. They were laughing. They were laughing. It was hard for them to believe. They couldn't believe it. They laughed, mocked him, scoffed, mocked and scoffed him. But he had faith. By his faith, Noah condemned the rest of the world, and he received the righteousness that comes by faith. Remember when Yahweh said in the last days, it shall be like the times of Noah? That's what he meant. Everybody just running about their lives, doing their own thing with no trust, no faith in the Father's word, no consideration that things are going to end here in a bit. You're like, oh, you've been saying that for a long time. Yeah, y'all been talking about the end. The end is near for a long time now, and we're still here. You guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They did that with Noah. And the Father purposely, he gave him an assignment that would take a long time, and he was out there for a long time saying the same thing, condemning them and warning them. And they just laughed and mocked. They couldn't see it until it was too late. And it was too late. Verse 8, it was by faith that Abraham obeyed when Yahweh called him to leave home and go to another land that the Father would give him as his inheritance. He went without knowing where he was going. And even when he reached the land the Father promised him, he lived there by faith. For he was like a foreigner, living in tents. And so did Isaac and Jacob, who inherited the same promise. Way before there was a law of Moses, we had the Father's word. We had his promise. His promise came first. Abraham was confidently looking forward to a city with eternal foundations, a city designed and built by the Father. It was by faith that even Sarah was able to have a child. She was old. There was no way she was supposed to be able to have a child. But the Father told her she would. And because he said it, that's all that was necessary. She did laugh at first. We can't let her off the hook for that. We ain't act like she didn't laugh at first. She was like, wait, what? No, I don't believe it. But she immediately snapped to, she immediately snapped to. She got right. When it was like, what? Wait, what'd you say? Nothing. I ain't say nothing. I didn't say nothing. And she got right. She trusted, she believed that her, in her old age, would bear a son. Though she was barren and was too old, she believed that the Father would keep his promise because he gave his word. His promise, his word is everything. We were given an inheritance by promise before there was ever a law. So why would our rewards of heaven and inheritance come via the law? It makes no sense. But you guys just keep holding on to that to your own detriment. But let us continue. Verse 12. And so a whole nation came from this one man who was as good as dead. A nation with so many people that, like the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore, there was no way to count them. All these people died still believing what the Father had promised them. They didn't get to see it, but they still believed in his promise. They believed it was going to come one day because he said so. All these people died still believing that the Father, still believing what the Father had promised them. They did not receive what was promised, but they saw it all from a distance and welcomed it. They agreed that they were foreigners and nomads here on earth. Obviously, people who say such things are looking forward to a country they can call their own. If they had longed for the country they came from, they could have gone back. But they were looking for a better place, a heavenly homeland. That is why Yahweh is not ashamed to be called their power, for he has prepared a city for them. It was by faith that Abraham offered Isaac as a sacrifice when the Father was testing him. Abraham, who had received Yahweh's promises, was ready to sacrifice his only son, Isaac, even though the Father had told him, Isaac is the son through whom your descendants will be counted. You see, the Father told Isaac way before he tested him, hey, Isaac is the son that I'm going to give you. And through this son, Isaac, these are who all your descendants will be counted by me. These are the ones that I'm going to count. Right? And then he was told to go sacrifice his son. And so he went to go do it. He went to go do it. All the while having faith that he wouldn't have to do it, that at some point he would be stopped. He would be stopped and the Father would give him a way out. The Father would give him a different option, another alternative. But he was going to go do it. He said, I'm going to go. I'm going to do what he said. I'm not going to buck. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to wallow. I'm not going to listen to my woman. I'm not going to do what she says. I'm going to do what the Most High says. So he was a strong man, not a weak man to his woman, and not so loving his son that he wasn't willing to do the will of the Father. But he believed that the Father's word is a cashed check. So he said, come on, son, let's go. Let's go. But the Father promised me, through you, my descendants will be counted. So I believe that it'll never have to happen. It won't actually happen, or he's going to bring you back to me. Either way, it's going to all be fine, because there's no way that his promise can be kept if he kills you. So come on, Isaac, let's go. Obey we must. Verse 19. Abraham reasoned that if Isaac died, the father was able to bring him back to life again. See? He was like, okay, I don't think he was going to make me kill him, but if I got to, the father bring him back again, because he can, and that he will, because he gave me a promise. He gave me a promise. He gave me his word. So however this goes, I'm ready for it. Don't think I'm going to have to kill him, but if I do, the father will give him back to me again, as long as I'm obedient. That's the important thing. The father requires obedience. All I got to do is be obedient, and he'll keep his word. And in a sense, Abraham did receive his son back from the dead. It was by faith that Isaac promised blessings for the future to his sons, Jacob and Esau. It was by faith that Jacob, when he was old and dying, blessed each of Joseph's sons and bowed in worship as he leaned on his staff. It was by faith that Joseph, when he was about to die, said confidently that the people of Israel would leave Egypt, right? Because he was told by the father that this would happen. He even commanded them to take his bones with them when they left. It was by faith that Moses' parents hid him for 3 months when he was born. They saw that the father had given them an unusual child, and they were not afraid to disobey the king's command. It was by faith that Moses, when he grew up, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to share the oppression of the father's people instead of enjoying the fleeting pleasures of sin. That's what we got to do now. We can't be afraid to do what the father wants us to do. We can't be afraid of the oppression of by our own people or by our enemies. Right? Do not try to hold on tight to this society, to the system, to the wicked, to the heathen. Do not try to hold on to the dainties of this life. Everything you have, you better be prepared to lose it. You better be prepared to walk away from it. Enjoy it while you have it, but be prepared to let it go. Don't hold fast to it. Fleeting pleasures of sin. Fleeting. Meaning they pass away, they disappear. They're not permanent, temporary pleasures of sin. He thought it was better to suffer for the sake of a Mashiach than to own the treasures of Egypt, for he was looking ahead to his great reward. Listen, this is Moses. Moses thought it was better to suffer for the sake of Hamashiach than to own the treasures of Egypt, for he was looking ahead to his great reward, because he was told about Hamashiach's coming. They knew he was written of in the scriptures. The Old Testament, he was written of. Our people in the Old Testament, they knew about the coming. They didn't know exactly when it was going to happen or how it was going to happen, what the circumstances would be, what exactly he was going to do when he came. They didn't know. They just knew that he would come, that it was written of him to come, and that he would be the savior of Israel. They knew. It was by faith that Moses left the land of Egypt, not fearing the king's anger. He kept right on going because he kept his eyes on the one who was invisible. He believed in what he couldn't see. The father made sure Moses knew like he knew. He built him up in the faith and then tested his faith. It was by faith that Moses commanded the people of Israel to keep the Passover and to sprinkle blood on their doorposts so that the angel of death would not kill their firstborn sons. It was by faith that the people of Israel went right through the Red Sea as though they were on dry ground. But when the Egyptians tried to follow, they were all drowned. It was by faith that the people of Israel marched around Jericho for 7 days and the walls came crashing down. It was by faith that Rahab, the prostitute, was not destroyed with the people in her city who refused to obey Yahweh, for she had given a friendly welcome to the spies. How much more do I need to say? It would take too long to recount the stories of the faith of Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and all the prophets. By faith, these people overthrew kingdoms. By faith, not by works of the law. By faith, these people overthrew kingdoms because they conferred with the Father. They trusted his word when he says, I'm going to do this thing. They trusted his words when he says, I'm going to give you victory. He trusted when he said, don't do this because I'm not going to give you victory in this circumstance. Stay your hand. Move now. They followed his commands. They trusted when he said, don't do it, and do it. Move. Stay. They obeyed because they had faith. They showed their faith. And that's how they were able to overthrow kingdoms. By faith, these people overthrew kingdoms, ruled with justice, and received what the Father had promised them. They shut the mouths of lions, quenched the flames of fire. Boy, y'all remember that in the book of Daniel. Came out of that fire, boy. And instead, those who threw them in the fire, they were consumed by the fire. Man, they told him, man, we don't care what you talking about, man. We are not gonna bow down to you or your statue. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Our Father, our power is gonna save us. And even if he don't, we ain't bowing down to you and your damn statue. That's out. Man, you might as well go and throw us in that fire, man. Quench the flames of fire and escape death by the edge of the sword. Their weakness was turned to strength. They became strong in battle and put whole armies to flight, always with the Father. We always needed him. We could never do anything without him. Why would he allow you to sanctify yourselves? He never allow us to accomplish anything of significance without him. He builds up our faith through his miraculous and wonderful works, his signs, his grace, his mercy, his love. So he gets his glory. We get to give him all praise, all honor when he do these things for us. The kingdom of heaven is a gift from him to us. It is nothing you can work for. You can't earn it. You can't do anything to deserve it. Verse 35. Women received their loved ones back again from death, Lazarus. But others were tortured, refusing to turn from the Father in order to be set free. They placed their hope in a better life after the resurrection. Some were jeered at, and their backs were cut open with whips. Others were chained in prisons. Some died by stoning. Some were sawed in half, and others were killed with a sword. Some went about wearing skins of sheep and goats, destitute and oppressed and mistreated. They were too good for this world, wandering over deserts and mountains, hiding in caves and holes in the ground. All these people earned a good reputation because of their faith, yet none of them received all that the Father had promised. For the Father has something better in mind for us, so that they would not reach perfection without us. So this is the gathering of the faithful, not those who feel like they got works to do. This is the gathering of the faithful, you guys. He's been grooming us over lifetimes, building us up, preparing us. And now he's gathering us. Your faith is everything. Don't forget, and don't be tricked. Once you're pulled out, of that law of Moses, do not allow them to pull you back in. That'll be the worst thing you could ever do to yourself. All right, Israel, we're going to go ahead and wrap up part 30 of Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death right here at this spot in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 40. We'll be back very soon for the next installment, part 31 in our lesson. You guys stay tuned for that. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations, and love to my people out there, the elect, the Israel of the Most High. I love you guys, and I pray to the Father for your edification. I pray that you guys are thoroughly increased in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You're built up, and you can get to the point where each one of you can go out there and reach another one of you that's close to you, someone that you know that's near you that could use this word. All right, that's the goal, for each one to reach one. Okay. All right, so that's it, you guys. We go ahead and tighten up that bow tie on there and wrap this one up. See you guys on the next one. Okay, stay tuned. Shalom.